All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's another Saturday night here on Off Camper TV. We're here at the USA International Speedway bringing you coverage of race number 8 of the Outlaw Modified Series powered by the Bootleg Racing League. Joining me tonight in the booth is going to be Dylan Ackert as always. And Dylan, it's been a long season so far. Week number 8 on tap here tonight. We only have 3 races left after this race. Just kind of give us a little bit of a summary on how this year has been and how you're doing.
This season by itself has been pretty much like the NASCAR Cup Series. You've had 3, maybe 4 very fast runners. Anybody else, didn't get to the front. They're probably they have a really good setup. Not a lot of changes going on, but it's going to be interesting seeing the grid. I know some drivers last week did not have the good turnout that they wanted, so tonight's invert will be kind of interesting, but this season by itself has been kind of a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Went around and it's been those 3 main dominant drivers every week, and if you can't touch them, then you may want to try to get the next best finish.
Talking about that 98 J.R. Shepherd, definitely in the points lead as of right now. Brian Dinh and Kenny Kibbe, your top 3 in the points. Shepherd out in front by 8 points over Dinh. So, I mean, that lead could end as soon as it begins here. We're going to have our starting grid on the screen. Todd Liston going to have command of the field as we come to the green flag in that 87 car. The 26 of Donnie Moore going to be to his outside in row number 1. Brian Dinh, we just mentioned him, the 23 car starting out of position number 3 and 4th. Going to go to the 31 Sonny D machine of Mike Holloway. Kenny Kibbe and J.R. Shepherd going to make up row number 3. Had the 36 of Joshua Banks, last week's winner at Lanier. Going to have John Hines starting to the outside in that 75 car. Got David Loomis and Jason Menda in row number 5. And rounding out our 11-car field here tonight is going to be the 5 car of Lowell Jewell. We got 100 laps on the board here at the half mile at USA, which is now a parking lot. In real life, Lakeland, as some people affectionately call it. One more parade lap under the pace car. And definitely the ones to watch, of course, is that top 3 in the standings. You got Dinh starting in 3rd, Kibbe in 5th, and Shepherd in 6th. So they're all right towards the front of this pack. Had an impressive run out of Joshua Banks in that 36 last week, of course, getting checkered flag. He's going to start out of position number 7. But Todd Liston, the Pepsi-Cola car, going to start out front with Donnie Moore to his outside. Pace car rolling through turns 3 and 4. This is the track that everybody cuts their teeth on in iRacing for short tracks. Let's see if that muscle memory comes back here. Green flag is out at USA. Liston gets down and away, clears Donnie Moore by the time they get to the start-finish line. Long straightaways here, tight turns, not a lot of banking. As you can see, Donnie Moore had to check up a little bit. Mike Holloway going to try to get to the outside in that 31 machine as they head down the long back straightaway here into turn 3 for the first time tonight. And it looks like Donnie Moore going to retain that second position. Dinh trying to fend off that 98 car of J.R. Shepherd as well. And it looks like Moore going to retain that second position. Dinh now to the bottom, fighting Holloway for 3rd.
Looking a little bit farther back, that number 36 who won last week, Joshua Banks, is kind of just sitting there riding with the 14 alongside him. And that 14 is Kenny Kibbe up on that high side. Can't really make any passes being done. But going back, everyone's single file going into turn number 1 and 2. J.R. Shepherd right behind number 31 of Mike Holloway. Always my pick of drivers. He does a great job. Always interesting to see what Holloway can do. Currently sitting in 4th, going around a little bit farther back in the field. We got a car on the wall, and that was the 91 of David Loomis. He goes on and touches the exit of turn 4. Still keeps all the tires going. Everything's still going well. And going around a little bit battling going on for the P8 between that 45 of Jason and John. Going around side by side, going across the finish line. Not a lot of movements throughout the rest of the field, though.
Not a lot of follow the leader so far, and Liston has pulled that lead to about a half a second over Donnie Moore. And you have 2nd through 7th here just in a row. Banks on the caboose of that brigade right now. J.R. Shepard looking to save a little bit of tire here. He's not really through the field like I thought he would. Already up one position, got around Kibbe on the initial couple of laps here. Only 5 laps in the books next time they come by the start-finish line. And, I mean, pretty much it's just a ton of separation between the absolute back half of the field and not a lot of movement or changes in that running order here as we are coming back onto the backstretch here. J.R. Shepard's got a little bit of a run on Holloway. Going to back off on the entry into turn number 3. Going to let Holloway retain that 4th spot right now. Brian Den, though, he's starting to put the pressure on Donnie Moore for that 2nd position.
Kind of just watching right now, see what goes on. Unfortunately, with the way the USA is designed, well, it used to be designed before they tore it down with big old boulders, is that it kind of was a 2-lane track as we see J.R. Shepard and Mike Holloway go side by side with the 14 of Kenny Covey pushing Holloway down the straightaways. But you can see kind of right there, there's 2 main grooves here at the USA race where you have that very bottom lane, and then you have like maybe another lane up. But once you go past that lane, you're gonna be in not the good stuff, because there's not gonna be much grip up there, not a lot of movement going on, and you see how slow these cars get when they're side by side. You see Kenny Covey in that 14, he just pushed J.R. Shepard straight by Holloway, and now Holloway stuck on the top side, trying to battle on, keeping that 4th place position, but doesn't look like that's gonna happen. But now with Holloway up on the high side, you gotta watch that tire. He really needs to watch, make sure he doesn't overuse that tire. Higher you go up the track, more banking you get, and more of that tire is going to kind of pound into the asphalt. So it's going to be interesting to see how Holloway does it. But look at how close Holloway and JR are. Oh, the 14 coming. Oh, he touches the wall.
Caution not going to come out. Kibbe going to back up and get back onto the racing surface. That is going to spoil his night right there, running in the 6th position behind that battle between Shepard and Holloway. Kibbe goes around from help from Joshua Banks in that 36 car. We are still green flag racing here. 11 laps down. We have 88 left to run here. Todd Liston still out front. Donnie Moore closing the gap a little bit on that 87 machine. The 23, Brian Den, still in 3rd. J.R. Shepard, of course, you saw that, just got up to the 4th position, working Mike Holloway pretty hard there, and Joshua Banks in 6th. Still in that front pack. I mean, the gap between 1st and 6th right now, almost 2 seconds on the racetrack. We got Minda and Hine back here, still single file. Loomis and Jewell and Kenny Kibbe way behind our race leader now. He's over a half a track behind Todd Liston. Now, Liston definitely hasn't been having a spectacular season. He's had a couple of good runs here, but this is definitely going to build some confidence up in that 87 camp. Liston looking for a good run here tonight, and he's going to have to buckle down here. He still has 85 laps to go, of course, with the Outlaw Modified Series. You cannot change tires throughout the race. Every race is 100 laps. So these guys have been doing this for 7 weeks straight. That's 700 laps worth of racing so far. Actually make that 715 as we are in lap 15 on this race. Liston, can he hold it together here? I know it's very early on, but he's maintaining that gap between himself and Donnie Moore. Donnie Moore starting to get some pressure from behind from that 23 of Brian Den. And Den is a previous winner here on the season. Peek to the inside of the 26. Moore's going to give him that bottom lane. Den's going to try and charge up into that 2nd position. He's got J.R. Shepard closing in on the back of that machine as well. There he goes. Den to the inside for that 2nd spot. Donnie Moore still fighting hard on the high side. And Den, to no avail. He's not going to be able to get. There he goes. He finally gets up to the front of that 26 car, but he hasn't really been making up a lot of time there in the turns. They're side by side. Todd Liston starting to check out from this battle as well. Den has the advantage out of turn number 2, but here comes Moore on the outside. Drag race down the backstretch.
He just JR's over to right there watching this battle. Unfortunately, it's kind of like once you get side by side, it seems like there's a lot of checking up, not a lot of movements, but we're going to do a crossover That number 23 O'Brien is going to try to do anything he can to get by that 26, but doesn't look like he can. But J.R. Shepard is just getting held up. You can tell J.R.'s trying to get by him. Just, you know, if there was a little opening or there was some kind of way he can get by him, he's going to try to get by him, but there's no movement. But look at the little battle that we have behind him between Joshua Banks and Mike Holloway. Mike Holloway goes to take that high side around, lets Banks go by him. But, you know, right now, this little 5-car pack is kind of being held up, you can say. You know, there's not a lot of movement going on. Everyone's kind of single file. You know, we all know that JR and Holloway, both their setups come in at a much later stage of this race. You know, so it's seeing Holloway kind of falling back, but look, and seeing Shepard not really pushing it, is kind of noticing me that USA might not be a as strong of a track that we all think it may be. You know, I know a lot of the members here in iRacing love the USA dirt version, and I believe the rookies still drive this when you sign up for iRacing. But right now, it's just that bottom side. If you go above that bottom lane and you go up at all, you're gonna get passed, and once you get passed, you're gonna lose a lot of ground.
Yeah, this is the track that everybody cuts their teeth on when you're running the rookie street stock series. If you elect to run the USA ones, when I was a rookie, I would avoid USA like the plague and only run the Charlotte races. Maybe that's why my racecraft is so bad. But
I mean, you could be a lot worse. You could have, you know, used your mouse as your throttle in a cheap $20 1-box wheel that went from straight to 90.
It's funny that I only pay $20 for my wheel, but
oh damn, lucky.
Donnie Moore closing in on the back, or excuse me, getting closed in on from J.R. Shepard. Now, I don't think it's really a. I don't really think it's a. Oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think it's really a holding up situation here. I think it's more of a tire conservation sense here. You see the 98 go on the high side there on the entry into one here. Just a quarter done in the race. And it's more along the lines of saving that right front tire because, again, you cannot change tires throughout this event. They still have 74 laps to go. And, I mean, a lot of these guys still trying to save that right front tire. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little distracted in my ear there. But Todd Liston still out front, leading every single lap so far. Brian Dinn starting to close that gap. It was up to 3/4 of a second, now down to 0.3 of a second. Is the gap. 2-3 car lengths separate that 87 and that 23. Brian Dinn looking to take home another checkered flag here today. Todd Liston trying to take home his first one on the season. And, I mean, it just looks like Liston may have worn out that right front tire. J.R. Shepard peeking on the inside of Donnie Moore as they head into turns number 1 and 2 right here. Not going to be able to get there is J.R. Shepard. He's going to have to stay back in that 4th position, but the battle is heating up for our race lead. Brian Dinn, less than a half a car length separate him and the race leader. He's going to go to the inside here, drafting down the front stretch. Elects not to pull out. And there goes Dinn to the inside into turn number 3. The 23 looking to take away the race lead. He's coming up the track a little bit. Liston almost into the outside retaining wall. At the line, Brian Dinn had the race lead by the slightest of gaps. Liston now back in the second. Dinn, your new race leader.
Right now, Dan is taking a beautiful charge, but while this battle's been going on, the back half from 3rd on back to 6 is actually, the gap is becoming a lot farther away. They're losing a lot of ground on the leaders, not really gaining much, but ground. I keep hearing collisions, but I think we might be having a little bit of network issues. But going a little bit farther back in this field, don't forget about these 4 cars in the back. From 7th on to 11th, they are all, well, 7th to 10th, they're all right here battling for that 7th position. You know, doesn't have that perfect good setup that everyone likes to have. But they are around and they're making a good show for that back half of this field.
Yeah, they are. Actually, J.R. Shepherd under attack right now in that 4th position from the 36 of Joshua Banks. Now, we saw Banks and Kibbe get into it earlier on in this run. Still a green flag party here tonight. But looks like Banks had to back off there and gives J.R. Shepherd a little bit of breathing room for that 4th position. Liston not exactly falling off from Den as fast as I thought he would here. I mean, he's about 4 car lengths, 5 car lengths back now, running around in that 2nd position. But Donnie Moore now putting the pressure on that 87 as well. So there he goes to the inside. Battle on for P2.
Going on board with the 97 and 98 of J.R. Shepherd, just to see what he sees in his race car. Just trying to, see that there's nowhere to put your car and make the run. JR is pushing that 26 as hard as he can to try to get by him, but there's no room, there's nowhere you can go. If you shove your nose in too much, you're gonna slide up and you're gonna ruin that tire even more, and then if you try to undercut it, you're gonna lose a lot of ground because that guy behind you is not gonna let up. So everyone's kind of just stuck at their own pace. Right now, J.R. Shepherd takes that, see how he's kind of doing a very diamond-like, go high in the entry, then low on the exits. It's just to try to do anything that he can to get that speed out of that modified, but he's not doing it well here tonight. But Ground just taking a look on the number 87, Todd Leston. He's in 2nd place. He's there if he can just find a little bit more extra speed out of that car. But we've done 40 laps, gonna be 40 laps. I'm just worried that maybe he's overcooked his tires while leading, trying to make that gap, and now that he doesn't have any left, and now he's gonna kind of be setting like a pinball, seeing what can go on. But looking a little bit farther back, Joshua Banks is on the low side and J.R. Shepherd's on the top side. Joshua Banks is going to take that low side, trying to get by J.R. Shepherd. J.R. Shepherd taking that middle lane, doesn't want to give it up, giving a hard battle. And the perfect person to be watching this right now is that 31 of Mike Holloway. Mike Holloway is just kind of sitting back watching this battle, letting these two drivers wear out their tires. But J.R. Shepherd and Joshua Banks stay side by side going into turn number 3 and 4. They have perfect little drag race going on. Joshua Banks does have the upper hand this time. Joshua Banks does score in 4th place, and J.R. Shepherd scores in 5th. But right now, it's going to be up to Joshua Banks if he can make this work. He's so close. He's not getting the runs off the corners that he wants to. As we go around back again to see if anything can happen here. Joshua Banks, if he can keep that car and not wear out that tire, he's in a very good position right now. But J.R. Shepherd's definitely putting the pressure down and keeping that high side. J.R. went a little too wide there, hits the wall. A little bit of sparks come flying from that bumper rail, and he makes the pass. Whew, that was a lot of work for Joshua Banks to get by J.R. But it's just a side effect of USA. But looking a bit little further ahead, Todd Liston in that 87 goes around. He's been hitting the wall a few times on the exit of 2. You can see that he's taking that higher side, leaving the door wide open on that low side for that 26 of Donnie Moore. And it's just, you can see how those two drivers are taking the lanes completely different and just cannot make any kind of passes being made. But right now, Joshua Banks is a man on the mission right now in that 36. He is, you can tell that he is pushing the car to as fast as that he can go so he can make the, to gain some of these spots before the halfway point. Because once you get to the halfway point, it's go or go home. So he's definitely trying to push it to the limit right now. But going on, just taking a look back on those last 4 spots behind leaders, currently a little over 10 seconds back from the leaders. But the 5 of Lil Jewel and the 45 of Jason is just battling, trying for that 8th place position. But the main battle right now is to watch Joshua Banks in that 36 found the hole to get underneath that 26 of Donnie Moore, and now Joshua Banks is on the move to second place.
Yeah, he is. Gets clear of Donnie Moore out of turn number 2. Now he sets his sights on Todd Liston. I was beginning to think if Dylan was ever going to breathe again on that last exchange, but here we go. Joshua Banks, the Matco's tool, number 36. He wants him a cold Pepsi right now. He wants to get up there and see if he can't rattle a free one out of the machine here. Going for that second spot. I mean, impressive drive out of Joshua Banks. Of course, he started back towards the seventh or 8th position, I believe, here tonight. And there he goes to the inside of Liston. Now, the thing is he's electing to use up this right front tire just at the halfway point here. Of course, Brian Dinn leading with a 1.1 second advantage over our second place battle between Liston and Banks. Now, Liston held off Donnie Moore, not going to be able to do it here with Joshua Banks. And the 36 gets up to that second position. Liston all over the back Nerf bar of the 86, or the 36, excuse me. You see Donnie Moore. Oh, Donnie Moore's going to go around. J.R. Shepherd contact. Donnie Moore, he saves it with some help from Mike Holloway as well. That's going to break up our 5-car lead pack. Here between 2nd and 6th, Donnie Moore going to go from 4th to 6th on that exchange. J.R. Shepherd just barely got into that 26, but it's going to cost them a ton of time here out on the racetrack. Joshua Banks got around Todd Liston as well during that exchange. Now he sets his sights on Brian Dinn, and Dinn now having about a 1.5 second advantage. If this thing stays green, that's definitely what that 23 car wants to see right now.
Yeah, right now, J.R. Shepherd is currently being scored at least 4 seconds back from the leader. Mike Holloway at least 4.5 to 5. Not a lot of.
Yeah, not a lot of room for error as we come through here. Not sure what's happening with Dylan's mic. I don't know if it's on my end or just what's going on. But Dinn still is setting the pace here with a 1.5 seconds. Yeah, not a lot over Banks. Liston purely in 3rd. Now J.R. Shepherd 4 seconds back from the race lead after the exchange between himself and Donnie Moore. Mike Holloway just over 5 seconds back as well. I mean, the field is pretty good and pretty separated right now. David Loomis, our last car on the lead lap right now. Actually, everybody's still on the lead lap. Kenny Kibbe has actually gotten around him. Kibbe trying to get around Jason Minda now. Going to go to the outside of the 45 car back here for the 9th position. And Kibbe going to try and drive around him. Then set his sights on Lowell Jewell. But as of right now, I mean, pretty much everybody is separated by a good margin between one another. So Minda and Kibbe is pretty much the closest battle on the track as of right now, closing in on 40 laps left to go. And Minda going to hold off Kibbe right now.
Well, you also got to remember that Kibbe did go around and he did spin. He did warm the tires to a point. So he's definitely probably fighting a more probably looser or maybe even tighter race car. I really don't know how these cars drive. I haven't driven these modifieds probably since I last joined the service. But Mike Holloway in pit lane.
Yeah, Holloway coming down the long pit lane here. Going to look to take a fast repair. He might have gotten a lot more damage than what we thought on that last exchange when he got involved in that wreck. Going to go a lap down as well. So that's going to be it for his hopes on winning here, unless we get a caution somewhat here late in the race. So Mike Holloway now 1 lap down.
I'm kind of curious that Holloway was the only one that has went down to pit lane, because these cars are very sensitive when it comes to touching the wall or getting contact made, especially in the front end. There's no fenders that protect them to a point. So any kind of damage you get goes directly onto the suspension. And right now, JR is not really, his lap times haven't dropped off all that much. But I'm curious if maybe Holloway even had a meatball, maybe. But that's a very hard event for Holloway. But you gotta remember, this is week 8. Week 9, if he finishes in that back half of the field, you do get the invert. So he will be in the front next week. This might just be a strategy game. You never know when it comes down to these final few races left to go in the season. You really you try to know what is your better and worst track. And, maybe USA isn't everyone's favorite track. I know it's not mine, unless you're talking about the dirt version. But, right now you just see he's very off the pace, even with that fast repair. He's still doing 20.95s when our leader is doing 20.90s. So he's definitely a lot farther off the pace than we all expected him to be. So it's going to be an interesting story next week and how his performance goes next week and into the championship. But going on through the field, Joshua Banks is at number 36, is kind of just sitting back, currently 1.3 seconds back from the leader. He has closed up that gap too. He was over 2.5 seconds back when we had that contact a few laps ago. So he is closing the gap, and we only have 33 laps to go. So he may be able to catch up and maybe battle. But right now, I think a lot of these drivers are kind of wanting a caution. Yes, they cannot come down pit lane to go around and get service done, but at least they can come down and kind of get back together, grouped up, and let these tires cool down. USA is one of those tracks, kind of like a Martinsville. When you look at it, it's a big paperclip with banking, pretty much. So,
yes.
It's going to be a lot of these cars, a lot of these drivers are going to probably want a caution. There's only one driver on this track that does not want a caution. And you know who that is, Wes?
Yep, that would be that 23 of Brian Den. The lead has shrunk a little bit. Joshua Banks on the charge. Only 1.3 second lead as of this last time by. He was up to 1.7. But let's see. Brian Den, Joshua Banks, Todd listed in our top 3. One driver, though, I want to give a shout out to real quick before he gets passed for this position, because Kibbe is coming down on him right now. Lowell Jewell in the 5 car. He has had one of the worst seasons out of any of the drivers out here so far. Running in that 6th position, having a great run. Started dead last in 11th, up to 6th. Drove his way up there, mind you. Mike Holloway did come into pit, and of course Kibbe got spun out, but he's earned those positions on the racetrack. He sort of, what I've gathered from the drivers that we interview every week, is he kind of puts this together for these guys. So a great run for the organizer here at USA. So good job on that 5 machine. But Brian Den actually stretching that lead out a little bit off Joshua Banks. Banks a little bit slower last couple of laps. You're looking at a 1.4 second gap between Den and Banks. Liston losing a ton of time to Banks. He's about 2 seconds off of that 2nd position. J.R. Shepard still in 4th, and Donnie Moore still in that 5th position. Mike Holloway 1 lap down now in 10th, right behind that 26th. And John Hine has decided to park it here for that 75. Not sure what happened to him. Long pit stop. But John Hine going to take himself out of the equation here as well. Jason Menda is our last car on the lead lap in that 45, all by lonesome. And see the race leader about a half a straightaway right behind him. So Brian Den about to get into lap traffic if this race continues to go green. We are at the 3/4 mark here. 25 laps to go for Brian Den to take home win number 2 this season.
I'm just watching, China been on board a few times already with that 36 of Joshua Banks, but going to go back on board with him just, to see, you know, he can see the leader right now. He can catch him, but it's gonna be, you know, 24, gonna be 23 laps to go. He has a 1.25, a little bit less than that, maybe this time around when timing and scoring comes in. So a second and a quarter back, you know, it's a lot. He's far back. You know, these cars do not produce a lot of draft, so this is all based off of pure driver and setup. If he can catch up to him, but I think right now, I think that 23 has had a good enough gap from the beginning, from the middle of the race onwards, that he'll be able to get us just keep that. But other than that, that's the only major battle going on track right now. Is can the 36 of Joshua Banks catch up and battle for the lead within the next 20 to go?
Right now, it doesn't seem likely. He's not chipping away at the lead. Actually lost another 10th to the 23 of Den. So, I mean, Banks, of course, we saw him through the middle part of this race. You know, passed a lot of good cars, actually. You know, got around Shepard, got around Holloway, got around Moore, got around Liston as well before, you know, that major separation happened between a lot of these drivers out here. But, I mean, he's definitely got to get the let out here. Hopefully that right front isn't as badly worked as I think it is, because Joshua Banks, he was getting it there towards the middle of this run. And I mean, 81 laps consecutively under green flag conditions. Jason Menda just went a lap down as well. Den just got around him, but Banks, I mean, he's got to do a lot more than, you know, gain a 10th, lose a 10th. That back and forth not going to be conducive to him getting that race lead or the win here tonight. But Brian Den, of course, we said it earlier, he is in second in the point standings right now. This definitely help him out as far as the points are concerned. But J.R. Shepard only 4 points behind him as well. You get a point for each position that you get on the racetrack. So only going to make up 3 points here tonight if he does end up winning this contest. But, you know, you can't take away the bragging rights of a checkered flag, especially heading into next week when we will be at, I believe it's Bristol, to be honest, or yeah, Bristol is next weekend here for the Bootleg Racing League's Outlaw Modified Series. So 9 o'clock Eastern here on OCTV. I mean, there's really not a lot of action happening around the track. I'm trying to look for cars that are, you know, close enough for a battle. I mean, really the closest battle on track is going to be between Kibbe and Jewel. And Kibbe still has to make up a couple of car links here on that 5 machine. Brian Den still out front coming to the stripe. We're going to have 14 laps left to run here at the USA International Speedway. And Brian Den, again, looking to take over that second. Oh, caution comes out.
Oh, the 91 of David. Oh, David. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that
I
looks
saw,
like it hurt.
Oh, I saw the clips of that before the camera went out of view, but oh, my goodness. That was not a pretty picture for that 91. I'm trying to figure out what happened. I would say a tire went out, but iRacing, #soon.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't get anything on my end, so that might just be a good old Casper right there. But caution comes out for the first time tonight. Brian Den, of course, the only person on the track that did not want to see that happen. Because now he's going to have to, he's going to have a hard charging Joshua Banks. Going to start to his outside here. Todd Liston, J.R. Shepard going to be back into the mix as well. David Loomis, though, I mean, a hard hit, obviously. I saw the smoke. Just did not see the car.
Taking multiple different angles and watching different onboards that we have here, it honestly seems like something happened mechanically to that right front fender, or maybe some hardware issues. You know, it's not uncommon to hear drivers in the IRL world and in iRacing say that my wheel fell off my desk. And it definitely seems like something happened to that car because it just started going the same angle, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. That was a scary watch to see.
Well, now we set the scenario up. Brian Dinh, who has led the majority of the back half of this race, Todd Liston, the only other leader here tonight, but Joshua Banks in second position. He is going to be sitting in the catbird seat as long as he can hold off J.R. Shepard. Now, Shepard, it hasn't been their night here tonight. I mean, he might have been saving a lot of tire there, hoping for a late race caution. And Shepard, looking in that fourth position, of course, points leader coming into tonight's race as well. But Banks, man, last week's winner, looking to make it 2 in a row here in that white and blue Maco's Tools machine. Looks like we're going to get lined up side by side here next time around. Lights still on the pace car, so we at least have a couple more parade laps under the pace car. Ten laps left to run here at the USA Speedway. We're going to go back to green flag racing with less than 10 laps to go. So Brian Dinh looking to, again, take home another checkered flag on this season. Joshua Banks looking to take another one as well. Winners in that front row. Liston, the only non-winner out of the top 4 cars out on the racetrack. And lined back up by 2 here at USA. Brian Dinh going to have command of the field. Let's see if he can get a good jump on Banks, excuse me. See if he can't get that 23 car to victory lane here tonight.
Ace car is going to come down this time around, leaving the hands to Joshua Banks in that front row. Green flag is out. And man, look at Brian in that 23 go around, makes an amazing jump side by side for the first 4 cars and trying to make any kind of move work. J.R. Shepard falls back into 4th, but main battles going on right here for your 1-2 position. Brian Dunn in that 23 takes that bottom lane, but the 36 of Joshua Banks goes on and keeps that high side moving, and he's getting that top side going very well, keeping that car rolling, but now going to be falling back into the clutches of that 87 of Todd Liston. But man, goes down to the hard down low. Joshua Banks at that low side pushes that 23 of Brian Dunn right up against the wall. And Joshua Banks is now being your leader. But don't keep out the rest of the field because they are all underneath a blanket. And man, look at Brian in that 23. He has fallen back, being battled for a second right now. 4th by Todd Liston, and Todd Liston takes it, and he goes way up the track, letting J.R. Shepard in that 98 go by. Right now, Brian Dunn, who has been lead. Oh, he gets turned! Oh no! 5 to go.
We may get another green flag, but I don't think so. That is probably going to do it here. Joshua Banks pulls off an incredible crossover on the 23, takes the race lead, and possibly the checkered flag here tonight. Pace car just now coming out. I don't think that we're going to go back to green flag racing here.
I don't know. When it hits that 5-ish mark, iRacing plays a very stupid game, and I do not... It's going to be interesting if we go back. We do have a lap down car on track right now, so, we could possibly see it go back green, and we possibly would see it finish underneath the yellow. It all depends on what goes on here, but I don't... It's going to be a very interesting game. But, man, goes around, led a little over half this race, and then gets turned, and now might finish 7th.
Well, Holloway's going to get the wave around here, going to put him back on the lead lap. I mean, to no avail. I mean, that's going to put 9 cars on the lead lap, but still, I mean, it's not going to give him enough time to get around any of this traffic here. Brian Dent, unfortunately, a heartbreaking defeat there after going around. Lost the lead to Banks there, and I mean, it pretty much like his whole world fell apart within 4 laps. And just a tough break for that 23 car. Was looking at a great points night, but now going to lose some more ground to J.R. Shepard as this race might come to a conclusion. If we don't get the lights off the pace car, yep, 2 to go. We are not going back green, folks. That's going to give Joshua Banks the race win here at USA after a great performance from him. I mean, he got into Kibby there early on, a little bit of hard racing extremely early on. But, I mean, Banks going to make it 2 for 2 weeks in a row here at the Outlaw Modified Series powered by the Bootleg Racing League. So, I mean, tip of the hat to Joshua Banks. Todd Liston having a great run as well. Going to finish runner-up, and J.R. Shepard, your top 3. But we're going to have one more lap to go here to finish this race off. And the pace car slowly bringing him around here at a blistering 45 mile an hour. One more lap to go. White flag out for Joshua Banks. You know he is going to be pumped up.
Yeah, Joshua, he did one amazing race, going around from the beginning all the way to the end. And man, if we could find that, or that he made that move in that slide, I would definitely put it on again. But man, that was probably the winning move right there. This whole race was when he was able to get just clear enough and just do a complete dive underneath and just put his car right there. But pace car goes around, takes the checkered flag at this very slow 45 miles per hour.
Josh Banks, your winner here tonight at the USA International Speedway. Fireworks going off in the background. Congratulations goes out to that driver. We're going to go ahead and run off your finishing results here. Of course, Banks, your race winner. Todd Liston in second. J.R. Shepard, Donnie Moore. Lowell Jewell gets a top 5. Great run out of that 5 car. Jason Minda, Brian Dinh after getting spun there. Tough break for that 23. Kenny Kibbe, Mike Holloway, David Loomis, and John Hine. So, I mean, a little uneventful until we got there towards the end. The first caution breeds the second caution. Joshua Banks going to come down to the front straightaway. Going to burn it down and park it in victory lane. Actually getting to the wall a little bit.
That's so he can, it can go.
Got to pass inspection.
Yeah.
Got to hit the wall a little bit, make sure it passes. And there we go, burning it down. And we're actually everybody's in here, so we're gonna go ahead and go to our 3rd place finisher, the 98 of J.R. Shepard. You got your ears on, bud?
I got you guys.
All right. Well, I mean, kind of an eventful race for you. You started, I believe, 6th place, got around Kibbe there early on, and ended up actually getting into a driver or 2 there during your run there. Tell us how it was from the 98's perspective.
Yeah, made some bad moves early on, racing some guys, and I felt like this was a track you really need to save your tires and be a little bit conservative early on, and that didn't pay off at all. And I got to racing Donnie and had a run on the inside just a little bit on him, and yeah, we got together. I've not really looked at it to see if I slid up or not. If it was my fault, I definitely apologize for it, because that's not what I'm looking for here.
I'd imagine not, but there late in the race after that, we had about 80 some odd laps of green flag running. You lost a ton of time there, got the field group back up, and then Brian Dinh ends up going around as well. He's your closest competitor in the points right now, so tell us how you feel about that.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate. Brian ran a great race, led a ton of laps tonight, and showed that he had the speed to win the race. if that thing had stayed green, it'd have definitely been his. So I don't know what happened that got him in the back after the restart there, but yeah, that's bad. I don't want to see that happen to a competitor. I'd like to kind of race it out. Be a lot more fun.
Yes, it would. That's just a driver in all of us there. But another third place finish. I mean, Mr. Consistency definitely had the points lead heading into the final 3 weeks here. So congratulations on that so far. Just got to close it out. And speaking of which, you got any thank yous, any shout outs you want to give before we let you go here?
Yeah, just thanks to Lowell Jewell and the Bootleg Racing League allowing us to do this each and every week. A lot of fun, great group of guys, and hopefully we do a pretty good show for everybody because it's a lot of fun out here. If anybody's looking for a good place to race, this is definitely one to check out.
All right, Big 10-4 there, bud. Have a good week, and congratulations. We'll see you next weekend.
All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks.
All right, that was third place. We're going to go ahead and bring in our runner-up here, the 87 of Todd. Listen, you got your ears on, bud?
I do.
Man, sat there, led the majority of the first half of the race, got passed by Den, and you maintained that second position. I mean, after what you've been through this season so far, you got to feel pretty good about this.
Oh, yeah, I had sprained my wrist last week, and this is definitely a big turnaround. Happy to see it.
Yeah, we're happy to see it, too, from up here in the booth. Gives us another name to talk about throughout the race. But, I mean, you had a great car there. You held off a lot of fast guys throughout the whole night. Is there just something about USA Speedway that clicks with you?
I think that we haven't ran here as much, and I think that might give me an edge being somewhat newer to the league. Maybe a bit of a fresher kind of perspective on it.
Okay. Is there anything special you did to prepare for this week's event over the last couple of weeks?
Not particularly. Like I said, I had hurt my wrist, and I actually didn't practice at all this week until just today before the race. And the modified is the only car I practiced. I only got about 10 minutes of practice in it, and I guess I just had a good feel for it tonight.
Just a couple of 100s off of having the fastest lap of the race. Of course, Donnie Moore had that with a 24.9. You had a 25.1. So, I mean, you definitely had one of the fastest cars out there. But still, I mean, like I said, a second place finish after the trials and tribulations you've had after this season. I mean, that's definitely a good run. Build up some momentum coming into these last 3 weeks. What do you expect out of these next 3 weeks out of the 87 camp?
Just try to keep it clean. Try to run up front as much as I can. It's good racing here, and I don't think I'll be able to compete for much in terms of like a championship or anything. So just try to get wins, try to get good finishes.
Well, what you just said is the textbook way of winning a championship. So let's hope that you get a couple more good runs under your belt here in the next 3 weeks. You got any thank yous, any shout outs you want to give before we let you go here, bud?
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank Lowell and all the guys that run out here. It's like I said, it's real fun every weekend. I'd like to thank my wife. And yeah, that's about all.
She wasn't standing behind you with a frying pan, was she?
No, she's about to get off work here in a few minutes.
All right, bud. Well, congratulations on the runner-up finish, and we hope to see you back in the booth here sometime soon.
Thank you.
All right, and Dylan, standing in victory lane.
User was moved to your channel.
With the Gatorade flying, the confetti going all over the place, man oh man, those last 20 laps that 36 machine did was unbelievable. Congratulations to you, Joshua. How does it feel?
Oh, dude, man, I couldn't believe it. I honestly thought I was going to go green all the way and that caution come out, and that definitely changed the game. So definitely Brian had to win at the green or at the yellow didn't come out, but it did, and we were able to capitalize on it. So I feel awesome.
Now, we had the first, I would say, probably the first around 70, 80 laps. You were kind of, you didn't seem like you were really going to try to get up there. Is it just product of USA and how the USA is, and you just can't really do much about it?
Not really. This track, I said last week it was going to be loose, but I was completely wrong because I was thinking about the Toro modifieds. But it was extremely tight, and it finally loosened up later in the run. And just to be able to make passes was hard because the high line would work too, to an extent. You can get runs off the high side, so it's tough to gain spots, and track position is super key here. So that's basically how this track goes, in my opinion. I mean, we were able to work through the field, thankfully, and get up to second and compete. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise.
Now, we got to talk about those last 10 laps between you and that 23 of Ryan. What that move from the high side down to the inside in turn 3 is probably going to be one of the most memorable moments of this season so far. What? What? I didn't even know what to say because that moment was, how you did that was just pure textbook and seen a little bit dirt track racing a little bit.
If you want to call it dirt tracking, I was just like, I need to do something. I got to make a move. I knew the high side wasn't working because he was fighting hard on the inside. I thought the high side would come in since, we already had rubber down and everything on the track. The high side would come in on that last restart. But I was able to hold off, but then he got a good run on the inside, and I was like, I still have my run, and I wasn't going to let it go away. So I just, like you said, jerked it to the bottom, and surprisingly, it stuck, and surprisingly, when I went in the corner, it didn't drift up as bad as I thought. So everything just worked great. I was just amazed at how that move and everything did there. So
now we goes around, adds more to your points, knowing that you only have a few more weeks left. And I believe we go to Bristol next week. How do you feel about that track?
Well, I like Bristol a lot, so hopefully we can continue this momentum we have going on, and hopefully we'll work through the field again and grab another win. Just going to try to at least, so just have to see what happens.
Well, Joshua, you did an amazing run tonight, and we know that there must be some sponsors that you got to give those shout-outs to make that 36 machine do what it did tonight.
Man, just got to shout out to my teammates at SWA Motorsports. They just great support group, and they helped me along this journey of getting being a better driver and making the car go faster and learning how to get faster. And also shout out to those guys there for doing all that. And then again, you guys for broadcasting and everything. Appreciate y'all doing that, and our admins here in the league too. I appreciate them hosting it and having a blow.
Well, that was our winner, the 36 of Joshua Banks. Man, oh man, it's just that finish that he did was just something that I think people are gonna remember this season by. Sending this back up to you, Wes.
Yeah, I mean, just I can't exactly say textbook. I think that would be if somebody drew something in a textbook. That's what that move was. I mean, just an incredible move from Joshua Banks. I mean, the season definitely, after the first couple races, has definitely picked up on, kind of entertainment sense. For me, a lot of drama's been happening here as of late. I mean, we had 2 people wreck during that that first on green flag run, the 80 laps that we had, and no caution come out, which was just amazing. That those guys, saved those cars or either got their cars off the track to not bring up the caution. But, I mean, now we're getting ready to go into the last great Coliseum. The SK Modified are going to go to the Bristol Motor Speedway next weekend, Saturday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, for race number 9 of the Outlaw Modifying Series, powered by the Bootleg Racing League. Definitely looking forward to that one. But congratulations goes back out to Joshua Banks on his second win of the season, 2 in a row. 2 out of 3 races he's ran this season. Just think about that as well we go ahead and wrap this puppy up. Dylan, it's been another fun night, and I think that's going to go ahead and do it for us, for Dylan and myself. We are OCTV, and we will see y'all next Saturday night at Bristol.